Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to talk to you about the Wagner 250M skid and the 350M cart electric airless units. Hi, my name's Josh, welcome back to another video. If you're new to the channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe button for lots of helpful tips and tricks. So today I'm going to show you a couple of new units we've added to our electric airless range. So first up, we've got this Wagner 250M, and this is what we call a skid mount unit, and this refers to the frame that it's mounted to. This is obviously the smaller of the two physically, and it's been designed to work on slightly smaller jobs when compared to its bigger brother, the Wagner 350M. So the main difference with the 350M is it's cart mounted, so that means it comes on wheels. So that means it's much easier to move around on those larger DIY jobs. So let's unbox them both, put them together, and check out the specs and differences. So here they are, and as you can see, really nice and easy to put together, and they both come with full instructions which detail every step you're going to need when using these machines, and we'd strongly recommend having a read through those first. These units are aimed at a keen DIYer on small to medium sized domestic jobs and not intended for professional large scale jobs. So first of all, we'll run through what each of them come with, and then I'll explain the technical differences between the two and then how to get them spraying. Both machines come ready to spray and come with everything you need to get going with the majority of interior domestic paints, and they're suitable for most water and solvent based paints which you typically use inside your house. If you do have a particular product that you want to spray and aren't sure if this is the machine for you, feel free to give us a call on the number on the screen here, and one of our advisors will be more than happy to answer your questions. So what do they come with? So we'll start off with the smaller 250M, and this comes with everything you see here. So we get the machine itself, a 9 metre high pressure hose, an HEA hybrid spray gun with a tip holder, a 311 tip for fine finish smaller jobs, and with that one you would use the red filter, and it also comes with a 517 tip for painting walls and ceilings, stuff like that, and for that one you would use the white filter. As we said, the 350M comes cart mounted, and it's got a suction tube that comes straight down from the bottom of the machine and into our container of paint. It also comes with the same HEA hybrid spray gun and tip holder, along with the same 311 and 517 tip with the red and the white filter. The main difference with the 350M is you get a longer 15 metre hose, so it's a little bit better suited to those slightly larger DIY jobs. Both units come from Wagner's HEA range, which stands for High Efficiency Airless, which means they have a maximum pressure of 110 bar or just under 1600 psi, which is relatively low compared to other airless units available on the market, which can operate at around 3000 psi. Operating at a lower pressure will reduce the speed you can spray at compared to other units, but crucially it will dramatically reduce the amount of overspray and paint wastage you have. As I said, spraying at a lower pressure does mean that you'll be spraying a little bit slower, but that being said, these units aren't designed for covering huge areas day in, day out, and if that's what you're looking to do, it may be worth perhaps considering a larger machine. Spraying at a lower pressure will also mean the requirement for thinning your paint will be more compared to, say, spraying at 2500 psi. That's just because we haven't got the same energy to break apart those paint particles, and to compensate for that we need to thin the material. Another option is we can warm the paint as well. That will help the spray pattern, and just like thinning, by warming it we'll be reducing its viscosity, which we definitely recommend doing, especially in the colder months. The tips on both these units have been specially designed to work with machines from the HEA range. They have a really nice controllable feel, which is exactly what you want if you're new to spraying or working on smaller jobs like a feature wall, for example. The tips are what we call a reversible tip, so this means if you get a tip blockage, so that's when no material is coming out when you're pulling the trigger, you simply turn the tip through 180 degrees, give the trigger a quick pull into a waste container which will clear the blockage, and you can then turn the tip back 180 degrees and carry on spraying, so no need to take anything apart. So let's compare the specs of the machines. They both come in 240 volt only, and as I've said, they have a max pressure of 110 bar or just under 1600 psi. The 350M has slightly more powerful 600 watt motor compared to the 550 watt motor on the 250M. What this means is the 350M can spray at a maximum rate of 1.5 litres per minute compared to 1.25 litres per minute with the 250M. Real world spraying, you won't really notice much of a difference and you won't spray much faster with the 350M, but the motor will be having a bit of an easier life with the 350M compared to the 250M while spraying at the same rate. So how do we set it up? As you've seen, both units require some basic assembly when we get them out of the box. One thing we do need to make sure of is that we put the hoses on tightly with some spanners. 2 adjustable spanners you'll be able to do it. Full setup instructions are available in the manual, so make sure you check those out before getting spraying. So we'll be using the 250M for the demonstration, but in terms of the controls, everything is exactly the same between the two. Before spraying, it's really important that you're wearing all the appropriate safety equipment, so that's going to be a mask, eye protection, coveralls, stuff like that, all of which is available on our website, and if you aren't 100% sure what you need, feel free to give us a call. But it's really important that you do your own checks on what's required before you start spraying with your chosen material. Once we're set up and all the fittings are nicely tightened with spanners, we need to get paint into the machine so we can get spraying. So first thing we need to do is drop our suction tube into the paint, which should be nicely stirred, thinned and warmed up as necessary. It's also worth mentioning that from this point we're now working with a machine that's capable of spraying at high pressure, and injection injuries are a serious risk, so all safety precautions advised in the manufacturer's manual must be followed. We then need to ensure the prime switch is in the downward prime position and the pressure is all the way down. We can then turn the machine on by slowly increasing the pressure until the pump starts to suck up through the suction tube and recirculate back into the paint container through the return tube. This process removes the air from the system and replaces it with our paint. Once the material is coming through smoothly and consistently, we ensure our tip is in the spray position, pointing forward. We then switch our prime valve to the spray position and start spraying, adjusting the pressure as required. It's always recommended to spray on a test area first to ensure all your settings are correct. As I mentioned earlier, if you get a tip blockage and the flow of material stops, simply reverse the tip, spray the gun into a waste container to clear the blockage, and then turn the tip back to continue spraying. Once you've finished spraying, you want to get as much of the material out of the pump and hoses and saved back into our paint tin so that it's ready to use for the next job. So to do this, we first need to depressurize the system so that we're working safely. We do this by reducing the pressure down to 0, which will turn off the machine. Now what's really important at this point is we still have a full hose full of pressure, so we need to turn the prime switch into the downward position, which is the prime position, and that will then dump our pressure. Next we should remove the suction hose from the paint container and place it into a container of cleaning material suitable for the product we've been spraying. We now need to empty the hoses. We do this by putting the trigger safety lock on the gun and removing the guard and tip from the front of the gun, and we take these away and clean these separately. We now need to point the gun at the inner side of our paint container. Whilst pulling the trigger with the safety off, turn the prime switch to spray. Turn on the machine by slowly increasing the pressure until the paint comes out into the container. Release the trigger when your cleaning material starts to come through. We can now put the lid on our material and put it to one side. Next, we'll pull the trigger into our cleaning material to recirculate and clean thoroughly. It's advisable at this point to hold the front of the gun under the surface to avoid splashing. Triggering the gun on and off will also speed up this process as it creates back pressure, which will clean the hoses better. Once the material is coming through cleanly, which may take a couple of buckets, you should remove the suction tube from the cleaning material and pump out any remaining water from both the hose and the prime valve by switching from the prime and spray position. The machine is then ready to be stored for the next job. If the machine isn't sucking up the material when you next go to use it, chances are there's a bit of dried paint inside. That's why Wagner have fitted this handy push button ball release on both machines, and with a couple of pushes it should free up the ball and start the flow of material. So as you can see, it's pretty simple to use, and after 10-15 minutes of testing and reading through the instructions, you'll understand what all the buttons and switches do. Wagner have also given these units a great guarantee period, which amounts to 3 years plus another year if you register it within the first 4 weeks of it being delivered. I'll put a link in the description below to where you can register it for that extra year. Please note, however, that this guarantee is on the unit malfunctioning and doesn't cover items that are considered to be wear and tear, or if the unit has been damaged through misuse. Again, there's a link in the description below to the guarantee, so if you want to find out a bit more, you can check it out there. The 250M and 350M are pretty much as simple as it gets when you're looking at airless sprayers, and they're really easy to use and a great option if you're thinking about getting into spraying or if you've got some DIY jobs to throw at it. We're an official Wagner distributor, so if in the future you're looking at getting any spare parts or accessories, we can always help you out with that. We also have full workshop facilities, so when the time comes for a service, or if you ever need that guarantee, we can also take care of that for you as well. Well, I hope this video has been useful, and I'll put a link in the description below to both units, so if you wanted to find out a bit more, you can check them out there. If you've liked the video and found it helpful, then please hit the thumbs up icon, and if you wanted to find out more and get access to exclusive offers, then please subscribe to the channel. Also, if you hit the notification bell, you'll get a notification when we upload a new video. That way you aren't going to miss out on any new offers or content. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.